What's up everyone, Alex here. I'm always on the lookout for really awesome RPGs to play, and very recently I found Circus Electrique while I was browsing through YouTube. Now you're probably wondering like, okay, there's circus in the title, so it's circus themed, why should I pay attention to it? Well, what if I told you that this is an original turn-based tactical RPG that is set in steampunk Victorian London? Well, an alternate reality Victorian London, how about that? And the footage that you're seeing in the background is from the release date trailer that was, well, released recently. Just watching the trailer that's playing in the background, the gameplay of the turn-based battles and the actual circus management reminds me a lot of Darkest Dungeon, but with a different spin, and this actually really intrigues me. Now, I watched like a Cirque show fairly recently, twice. I'm pretty high on circuses right now, but the fact that this is also a turn-based RPG with management elements, like, really speaks to me immensely. Couple that with a strong steampunk aesthetic, and this is certainly one of the games that I'm going to be looking forward to checking out once it comes out. I'm actually going to be playing a gameplay breakdown for this game after all of the stuff that I'm about to talk about. But I wanted to share with you this press release that the publisher shared to me. Named for the greatest show in Victorian steampunk London, Circus Electrique is part story-driven RPG, part tactics, part circus management, and completely enthralling, all with a steampunk twist. When everyday Londoners mysteriously turn into vicious killers, only the circus lineup of strongmen, fireblowers, clowns, and other performers possess the unique talents necessary to save the city. Through tactical turn-based battles, these unlikely heroes will face bobbies, British sailors gone bad, aggressive posh girls, and other Victorian-era archetypes standing in their way, not to mention the occasional menacing mime or robo-bear. The game's innovative devotion morale system affects characters' performance not only in battles, but also in actual circus shows, dutifully managed between heroic jaunts through 6 sprawling districts. The game has electrifying RPG combat, where you can test the skills of strongmen, fireblowers, escape artists, clowns, and other classic circus performers. There are 14 playable archetypes total, each with deep tactical options in battle. Assemble the most ideal combination of acrobatic artists to fight against over-the-top enemies. You can also manage the greatest show in steampunk London, because despite the chaos, the show must go on. Rebuild the circus in its former greatness and beyond, recruiting and training the most talented performers from all over the world. Performers' skill, chemistry with one another, and overall devotion combine to determine the success of a single show, and you'll need every single spare shilling you can get to keep everyone paid and happy. It's also a circus like none other, where you can immerse yourself in a striking world based on vintage circus posters, Victorian-era archetypes, and classic steampunk charm. Circus Electrique is coming out on September 6th this year on Steam, Epic Games Store, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series X and S, and Switch. And now, enjoy this deep dive into Circus Electrique's gameplay.
Hi, I'm Chris Baker, lead writer at Zen Studios for Circus Electrique, our upcoming Big Top themed RPG. Here with a quick gameplay overview. Circus Electrique takes place in an alternate Victorian steampunk London, where a mysterious event known as the Maddening has turned a huge portion of the population from all walks of life into ruthless killers. Yet somehow, the Maddening has had no effect on performers from the Circus Electrique, and their unique talents are pretty much the only hope for saving the city, maybe even the world.
I don't like you!
Using those unique talents effectively, plus deciding which performers to send out to execute them, is your key to success in the game. As you work your way through the city map, you'll often encounter attacks from those who have succumbed to the Maddening, unfortunate Londoners whom the press has taken to calling the Vicious. The Vicious tend to travel in 4s, as does your party. But who should your 4 selected performers be? By the end of the game, you'll have 15 classes to choose from, each with their own specific methods of fighting, defending, and watching out for their friends. Some much more ideal for certain of those tasks than others.
Power surrounds you!
Here we have a strong combination of performers you may set forth with early on. A strongman who, as they'd say in 1899, offers a mighty kerwallop. A clown who specializes in the healing power of laughter. An escape artist, also adept at the art of capturing enemies in place. And of course, a fire blower, who blows freaking fire. Notice how they're positioned. Positioning is a core strategic consideration in Circus Electrique, and we'll let Balthazar the strongman here show you why that is. As you can see from the dots right here, Balthazar quite likes it here in the first position, and all but 2 of his skills can be used here. He can only use his spine breaker attack here in the first position or in position 2, and if he lands it, which is not a sure thing mind you, it'll mean some crippling damage to one opponent. But what if it makes more sense for him to be able to put the hurt on multiple enemies in one move, if for substantially less damage? His boomerang skill can do that, but he'll need to move back to position 3 or 4 to use it. It may cost you a couple turns to move Balthazar to position 3 from the front, but maybe it's worth it. Or maybe it's not. Such moments of strategy are entirely up to you as the player.
You're very flammable!
Certain character types have skills that can rapidly affect positioning, both within your party and against the vicious. Positioning is part of your enemy's effectiveness too, after all. Another thing to consider is the devotion level of a performer, which more or less equates to the character's morale. If they're feeling devoted, their attacks will land more often and strike harder.
Nice and heavy.
See that electrical effect? It intensifies the more devoted your character is. If they're grumpy though, you'll need to cheer them up through other actions, such as using specific devotion-related skills or devotion-enhancing items, like that brand new tasty beverage known as cola.
Better than a bandage.
Otherwise, you're not going to be too happy with their results. If they get too depressed, they may have completely had it with you and choose to leave the circus altogether. Of course, there's also a circus going on during all this. The show must go on after all. And planning a performance is also very important to earning the resources you'll need to figure out how the maddening started and how to stop it. Thank you for joining me today. Be on the lookout for Circus Electrique when it hits PC and all your favorite consoles later this year.